guys, and welcome to a show about music, which is a new podcast, which is, guess what? About music. We'll be discussing different topics to do with the music industry and to do with music in general. And so we're going to have a little chat, which will be fun, sharing other people's views as well. I've done quite a bit of research on different areas, and today's show will be about the Grammys. But we'll talk a little bit about that later. Now, I don't know if you listen to podcasts, if this is your first time listening to a podcast. If you're a friend of mine, maybe you're being really kind and you're having a listen, which I doubt that I have friends that will. Maybe they'll listen to like the first 5 minutes, if that, they'll switch this off. But if you've not listened to podcasts before, if you hear this on Spotify, you'll be able to hear tracks to do with what I'm talking about. So it will play like different segments of the podcast and then play a track. And of course today's about the Grammys, so we'll discuss about the tracks later. But so if you listen to on Spotify, you can actually hear the songs. If you pay for it, you can hear the whole song, or if you just listen for free, you'll hear like 30 seconds, I think. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll get to see me having a great time here in my living room that I've taken over with my keyboard and everything like that, because I am a singer myself. I try and do a little something. I hum and do a little ooh-ah every now and again. And hopefully I'll be sharing some music with you a little later. Not today, but like in the future. If this goes well. If this doesn't go well, then literally I'm gone. Like, you'll never hear from me again, because I will not stay at a party that I'm not invited to. If you don't want to hear me, I'll find out and I'll just go on my merry way and do something else. If you watch on YouTube, you can see me. If you're listening on Spotify, you can hear the songs. If you're listening anywhere else, you'll just hear me drone on and on and on. Good for you. Hope you enjoy it. So let's talk about the Grammys, okay? The Grammys, it's the 63rd Grammys, and it airs on CBS on Sunday, the 31st of January. Okay, so we will celebrate the end of the first month of 2021. Let's just see how it goes. So 63rd Grammys, hosted by Trevor Noah. Interesting, because the Grammys for a long time has been accused of being not diverse. It's like it's just white men, just literally straight white men winning everything. I haven't looked into the history of the Grammys too much to really say whether I think that's the case. However, I can imagine so, just judging by the way that the world is. I'm sure it hasn't always been the best for female talent and for black talent. Now, I don't know of Trevor Noah too much. I believe he's a comedian. I'm English, so I tend to know what I know. In England, we're a little bit ignorant. And so I don't really, I think he's a comedian. I have seen him, I'm pretty sure, speaking very passionately about Black Lives Matter. And so it's interesting that they chose him to host. I feel like they're trying to make an effort to be more diverse and to make some changes, and what we will be talking about on the show, we're talking about other stars' reactions to the Grammy nominations. It's been very interesting seeing how they feel. And also, as I was looking into the Grammys, I saw that there'd been this huge scandal, which was like a Me Too kind of scandal that had happened. And it didn't really end in a way that supported the victim. I mean, in a way, it didn't end in favor of the person who was accusing the other person of inappropriately doing stuff. So we're going to talk about that scandal as well. It's very interesting, kind of goes deep, and it goes into, is the Grammys dodgy? Like, maybe they're a bit like, are they doing things very illegal going on there? Like, are they exchanging things for money? We'll talk more about this, but it seems like there's something going on with the Grammys that is not good, honey. Something that they need to figure out. Now, I just wanted to kind of say before we get into it, I personally like the Grammys, and I've always really cared about the Grammys. Maybe because I've always wanted to be a singer. So yeah, obviously. I always look forward to seeing the performances. I used to rush and see like what performances they would do. I used to pretend that I would win a Grammy quite often. I was always like, oh my God, no way. Oh my God, thank you so much. I can't believe it. I mean, I can't believe I never thought that I would actually win a Grammy, and here I am today. I'm stood here with a Grammy. Thank you so much. First of all, I have to just say thank you to God. Thank you, God, so much for delivering me. Second of all, thank you, Jay-Z, for signing me to your label. I've always wanted to be a part of the team, and you and Beyonce, hi Blue, you've been so good to me. Thank you, guys. I mean, I really enjoy the support. Candy Burris, my songwriter. Oh, she writes the best song, guys. Thank you for the words, darling. And most importantly, my mum. I thank you to my mum. Oh, and the fans, thank you so much. So I did this pretty much my whole entire life. I wasn't really allowed friends when I was younger because I was a Jehovah's Witness. We'll talk about that another day. So for me, I spent a lot of time pretending, and I used to pretend that I was winning Grammys, performing Grammys, and performing Grammys and winning Grammys. But yeah, I haven't yet, and I'm hoping that one day I will. The people who are mostly nominated, Beyonce has the most nominations, 9 nominations. Black Parade got nominated for like 1, 2, 3. Black Parade got nominated for like 3, 4 Grammys, okay? Which I'm surprised about because I didn't really think that Black Parade was the stunner from Black is King. I liked Anyway. Is it called No King and a King and away King already? That's the one I like. I like that body. That body. I like that song. Black Parade I wasn't too fussed about. And then Megan Thee Stallion Savage remix has been nominated for quite a few songs. Black is King was nominated for Best Music Film, and Brown Skin Girl for Best Music Video. So 9 Grammys I think is a little excessive. I don't know if she really deserves 9 Grammys. Beyonce, I mean, imagine if she gets 9 Grammys. Am I going to have to see her? I mean, it's probably going to be, let's be honest, it's probably going to be like a Zoom Grammys. So am I going to have to see her in her living room, you know, with her children in the background, like, Mummy, what are you doing? And well, they're American, but like, Mommy, what's going on? And then she's like, guys, I'm sorry. Let me just, hi, I've won another Grammy. I'm so thankful. And everybody, I believe in you and you believe in me. No, I don't need to see it 9 times. If I see that 9 times, please. Beyonce doesn't need to win all those awards. But Dua Lipa got 6 nominations. Taylor Swift got 6 nominations. And Roddy Ricch got 6 nominations. Taylor Swift's probably really happy as well because her album Folklore was nominated for Album of the Year. And one of her champagne problems is that she hasn't been nominated for Album of the Year for like a few years. That was literally the storyline of her documentary, which, by the way, I was absolutely just enthralled in. I wasn't ever a Taylor Swift fan. I'm still not necessarily a fan of her music. However, I watched that documentary and I was like, right, so where shall I put the Taylor tattoo? Shall I put it on my chest? Where shall I put it where everyone can see it? Like, I was like, right, sign me up to the fan club. I'm really a sucker for propaganda. I easily manipulated through a documentary. All the people that I didn't really like, I've watched their documentaries that are totally biased, totally created. I can see the magic is being worked on me to try and make me like them. And I just can't, and I do. I just fall in love with every person I watch a documentary on, you know? Some maybe not. Some, yeah, I mean, Hitler wasn't really, I didn't really fall in love with him. But the royal family, the British royal family, I wasn't really happy about them. I was brought up to not like the royal family and I didn't like them. And then suddenly I watched a documentary on them and I was like, you know what? Leave our queen alone. I was like, I love them. I still do. I love Princess Diana more though. And so I'm always conflicted. Anyway, it's got nothing to do with what we're talking about. So yeah, they've done really well. Got lots of nominations. Good for them. Now, The Weeknd apparently was snubbed. They're not happy that The Weeknd did not get. A lot of people are not happy that The Weeknd didn't get a nomination. Which maybe I'm just from Planet Zorg. I guess yeah. I get now. I think about it. The Weeknd's album was huge. That Blinding Lights and Eyes, not Eyes Closed. What's the song? I loved it as well. Eyes in Your Eyes. Weeknd is blowing up. Weeknd is single-handedly like carrying a lot of the music industry. He is a really fantastic artist. It's really cool to see him where he has come from, because I remember really when he had first come out with that first record and couldn't see his face, and it was just like popped up on the scene out of nowhere and no one knew who he was. And I remember thinking, I wonder what he looks like if we're ever going to meet him. And I used to hear that song all the time. It was like, I never heard a song like that before. Which was, which one? Something about high and, yeah, high for this. High for this. That was the first song I heard. So, yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get a nomination. And we're going to look into what happened with that. But he tweeted out, and he was not happy. He said, the Grammys remain corrupt. You owe me, my fans, and the industry transparency. Collaboratively planning a performance for weeks to not being invited. In my opinion, 0 nominations equals you're not invited. Okay, girl. Listen, The Weeknd was he was not happy. I watched I think it was the AMAs or the EMAs or the MDMAs or something. I can't remember what MMA it was, but it was some award show, and he won literally like tons of awards. It was during COVID times, and he won loads. So maybe the Grammys were like, listen, you've had enough. Let's give it to all to. But the thing, if you're going to give Beyonce nine awards, you could have gave one of those to The Weeknd. And the way that the Grammys, we're going to go through the Grammys process of how the awards are actually chosen. And then you can see how it could be very corrupt, to be honest, because I still can't, even knowing the process even more, I'm like, it's crazy that The Weeknd didn't actually get nominated, because it should have happened. Ellie Goulding was not happy. She wrote a whole essay, which I won't read out to you, but she did say something which I liked, which was something about, I sit and wonder when factors such as industry relationships, internal politics, and magazine covers started being rewarded before the music itself. Well, sweetheart, I don't know where you've been, but I feel like it's been like that for a very long time, honey. I mean, is that not just the pop industry? Have you just woke up yesterday? And she said, I sit and wonder about the ways in which artists in other fields, fine art, dance, film, are identified and praised for their notable bodies of work, not because of their notable bodies or working relationships. Interesting. Nice point. If both the most globally popular artists and most critically revered artists are not being recognized, how do we as artists go on? Would a runner start a race if they knew crossing the finish line first wouldn't necessarily win them a gold medal? No, they wouldn't. And I think that's kind of unfair. The music industry has been so terrible in the way that, it's chosen its successes. So this isn't something that we've just woken up and found out yesterday. So it really does need to change. But you know what, sweetheart? That's what's going on. So how do we change it? How do we change it? Now, Halsey wrote on her Instagram, which shedded a little bit of light, which I was quite interested in hearing this, right? Because it made my imagination just go wild in this world of possibilities and fake news and conspiracy theories. I was like, right, okay, Halsey's just like blowing the lid off everything. So Halsey had this to say on Instagram. She goes, the Grammys are an elusive process. It can often be about behind the scenes private performances, knowing the right people, campaigning through the grapevine with the right handshake and bribes that can be just ambiguous enough to pass as not bribes. And if you get that far, it's about committing to exclusive TV performances and making sure you help the Academy make their millions in advertising on the night of the show. Perhaps sometimes it is, but it's not always about the music or quality or culture. Just wanted to get that off my chest. The Weeknd deserves better, and Manic did too, which was her record. Perhaps it's unbecoming of me to say so, but I can't care anymore. Why am I thrilled? While I am thrilled for my talented friends who were recognised this year, I am hoping for more transparency or reform. But I'm sure this post will blacklist me anyway. Dum dum dum, like literally, like shots fired. In the words of Leah, I'm probably going to make a lot of Real Housewives references. If you haven't watched the show, you would just be like, what are you talking about? But if you have, I hope you get it. Yeah, so I'm going to break this down because this intrigues me. Now, it can often be about behind the scenes private performances. What the ass is that? What is a behind the scenes private performance, please? I would like to know because I want to go to one. And if anyone wants me to perform at a behind the scenes private performance, I'm there. Because in my head, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking mansion, okay? Out of nowhere, it's dark, it's nighttime, and we all turn up and everyone's got masks on. Not coronavirus masks, but ones over our eyes, okay? And everyone's kind of sexy and there's Hollywood stars all over the place and everyone's cool and everyone's drinking and the cocaine's flowing and everyone's like, ha, 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 and it's all cool. And then suddenly the stage comes on and Beyonce or me wearing the same outfit will just like descend from a pole and it's like sexy. Yeah, everyone's just like this smoky atmosphere and you do a really sexy performance and everyone's like, and then they all have sex. That's what I'm seeing in my head. Now, I would probably hate that, like being a guest, but I kind of like the idea. I don't know. I would probably leave by the time everyone's having sex, but I like the whole setup before. You know, it's one of those things where like the idea sounds really sexy and then you get there and it's just really dark and sad. But I'm sure the party is fun leading up to that. That's what I'm seeing in my head. I don't know what you're seeing in your heads, but behind the scenes private performances is a very interesting concept. And the fact that like if it's worth a Grammy, if it's like you perform here and I'll give you a Grammy, like what kind of private performance is that? It must be a really important, I mean, there must be high pay. I don't know. Like, I just don't know. And you hear things about the industry charts, some things that you just don't know if they're good or bad. I mean, some things just sound a bit crazy. And so, yeah, knowing the right people, of course, campaigning through the grapevine with the right handshake and bribes. Now, you should not be able to bribe a member of the Academy to choose a record, to get your record chosen for a Grammy. That is illegal and against their rules. So if that's happening, it's terrible. And so the fact that Halsey's saying it, I don't think she would just make that up or just come out here and put that on her Instagram if it wasn't something that she knew about. Exclusive TV performances. So yeah, this is actually played, that aspect is played into with the Weeknd, because there was accusations that the Weeknd didn't get nominated for a Grammy because he was choosing to do the Super Bowl, which I didn't know he was doing until I heard that he didn't get a Grammy. So he's doing the Super Bowl and they were like, well, he's doing that, so we don't want him. So I don't know. It's a little bit weird. Let's have a look at, first of all, right. So actually, you know what? Let's listen to a song. So the first song that we're going to play is a song that I really want to win the Grammy. I'm going to play songs that were from the Record of the Year nominations. And I didn't know this song until I looked at the Grammy list. And I was like, who are they? And it's Black Pumas and song's called Colours. Now, when did it come out? The song was released, I don't know, it's released in 2019 sometime. Black Pumas is an American psychedelic soul band, and they're from Austin, Texas. Okay. Yeah, and they did get nominated for Grammy last year. I don't think they won it, but for Best New Artist. And in this year, Record of the Year, they've been nominated for Colours. So this is Colours. It's very organic. It's very real. It's very Southern. I really enjoy. I was quite surprised actually, because looking at the other songs on the nomination list, they're a little bit poppy, but this one is really, really authentic, really cool. So I hope you enjoy it. Black Pumas, Colours. That That song literally sounds so spiritual to me. I love it. So really impressed with that. I actually hope that song wins. So out of all of them. Right, so let's get into the Grammy nomination process and see where there's room for error. So the Grammys is chosen by the Recording Academy. Now, anyone can be a member, but I think they tend to be people who are in the industry. I don't know if you have to be in the industry, but usually you are, because you have to pay $100 to be a part of this. I think you have to have some kind of, to be a member. Let me see. Do I have it written down anywhere? I don't know, but they tend to all be basically people who are in the industry. You pay $100 a year to be a part of this group, which is great. And you're allowed to, and people in the industry will enter their records into the pool of what could possibly be entered for a Grammy. It just has to be a song that's been officially released. Whatever that means in these day and age. Apparently it used to be just a song that was actually pressed into a recording, but now digital stuff, I think it's a song that just has been gone through, the right channels of distribution. Basically, if it's on Spotify, then you can enter it into the Grammys. So then they send all these songs out apparently to their members who all choose. There's 84, I think there's 84 categories across 30 different fields. So their members tend to have across all the different fields, and they're encouraged to vote in the field that is their chosen thing. So if you're a jazz trombone, is that a real word? Trombone. It is, isn't it? It's definitely an instrument. I'm doing a show about music and I don't even know if a trombone exists, whatever, or if you use it in jazz. But listen, if you're into jazz and you are part of the Academy, then you should vote on jazz. If you're into R&B, vote for whatever, you get the picture. Which I guess is hard because at the end of the day, who's into what genre these days? Like we're all just, everyone's everything. Everyone's a pop star. So all the genres are different. R&B, what's R&B? I don't know what an R&B song sounds like. They all sound completely different. So they get sent out. People choose and say, I'm going to vote for, I think there's like 350 experts who make sure that the songs are in the right category, so that this song is a jazz song and this song is a rock song. That must be a tough job. So they send them out all the votes to the members, and they all choose. I think they can all choose. It's up to like 15 categories in a genre, in the genre fields, and then 4 categories of the general field, which is the record of the year, album of the year, song of the year, and best new artist of the year. So that's brilliant. And then the ballots are tabulated by a separate a separate accounting company. There you go. I can finally get a word out. So there is also a committee that specializes. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit tricky, because as far as I can tell from the process, the voting members all look at all the songs that have been submitted for review. The voting members all choose like their favorite ones or what they think is, I guess. And then they look at like what has come in as the top, as the most ones with the most votes. And then there's this like little club that decide on whether like the final 8 votes of each category. So it isn't necessarily that the ones with the most votes at this point get nominations. There's a little club that decides whether this is okay, whether like this is the right 8 for this song, or 6, or however many in each category. I think it's 8, but I have no idea. I've done research, but I haven't really looked into the details. Or actually I have, but I just don't remember them. Anyway, who cares? So apparently this club started because Lionel Richie's album was nominated at the same time as Prince's Purple Rain, and who was the other guy? Bruce Springsteen, Party in the USA. I think that was the album title. I should check. Anyway, no one was apparently. Yeah, Born in the USA, sorry. Born in the USA, Prince's Purple Rain, and Lionel Richie's Can't Slow Down actually won over those two. So people were like, look, the Grammys is out of touch. So they were like, right, we need to sort out this little club to make sure that we don't just enter any old tripe in and that the any old tripe wins. And that is very, I mean, it's interesting because, I mean, that was the person who won, right? So do they dictate the person who wins as well? Because the reason they put the club in was because somebody won out of the pool of already 8. But if you're choosing the 8, if you're now saying, right, we're going to have a club to choose the 8 that get put through the second round of voting, like, how is that going to stop someone who you don't want to win? Is it because then the 8 that could possibly win you don't mind winning? Like, was Lionel Richie's album that bad that they wouldn't have even entered it into the 8? So it was like, it was so bad we wouldn't even have let it be nominated. Is that really, or is it just that you didn't like that one won over other people's? I mean, I don't really understand how that even correlates, because you're not putting the club in at the right time. And then, because if you're putting the club in to decide the final 8, shouldn't the club come in to decide the final 1? If that's how if that's really necessary for the, I just think it's all sketchy. This club just sounds like I don't know. But so they send out all the votes. People vote. They get them in, and then they have, like, I guess. So there is a guy. I've got a quote here. So a quote from a guy who was actually in the committee that I'm talking about, this little Illuminati group, which is just deciding things in the thing. They're all secret. No one knows he's in the group, but this is the only guy who's ever come out and spoke off the record, apparently. He spoke off the record, and the journalist was naughty and put it out there, which is very unethical. But, like, if you're going to be that secretive, like, who are these guys? So the name of the guy, get the committee members to speak of. So we don't know what the committee member's name is. But this is what he said. He said, the goal in each category is to take the 20 nominations that the members send forth and get the list down to a consensus of the 7 or 8 that we feel are the best. When we get that consensus, we stop. Each member of the committee then fills out a ballot, which isn't tabulated that day. So when we leave the room, no one, including Mike Green, knows the result. The only ones who know are the accountants when they tabulate it later. So even in his time of secrecy, he was saying, like, I mean, he could be lying. Maybe they do know. Like, I don't know. There's only 7 of us. There's only a few of you in this room. How many are in this room? And who's Mike Green? Mike Green must be in. I think Mike Green has something to do. He's the Grammys producer. I knew a Mike Green when I was young. It's so irrelevant. It's definitely not him. I don't know who Mike Green is. I can't really figure it out right now. But if you know who Mike Green is, let me know. So, Dodgy, who are these people? Why are you deciding this stuff? Why can't you just let your members be? I mean, you've got all these members. But I understand the Lionel Richie thing. But who's that to say? Like, who are you to say that Lionel Richie did it? If he got the most nominations, then he got the most nominations. Now, if you feel like you're out of touch, you need to look at your Grammy members, okay? Maybe you got too many people who are just, I mean, listen, it doesn't sound like you fixed your issues with this little committee. It just sounds like you got them worse and there's more shady stuff. I mean, who knows what's going on this planet? So this committee, this is like my point. The committee then look at it and get the top 20 down to 8. So the final 8 may not be the ones who got the most nominations. Now, this is what I'm thinking. You're sending nominations out to all these different people who are in the industry. And I guarantee there are people who like The Weeknd's music. Guarantee that out of all the people that were nominated, okay, he was definitely in the top 20. For pop. Now, somebody from Billboard.com did say that they felt that it could possibly be because he was nominated for like R&B contemporary album last year or something, and there was a hoo-ha saying it wasn't that, it should be in the pop category. So they were trying to diversify, and therefore he went into the pop category, and his album wasn't that strong in the pop category. But excuse me, that is just so rude, because there's no way that The Weeknd's album was not better than Taylor Swift's Folklore. I don't mean that in a really mean way. I don't mean that in a really mean way, but come on now. There's no way that album, that Taylor Swift's Folklore, got more votes than that, if there wasn't some BS going on. Now, maybe you've got some people who just like the slow Taylor stuff, and good for them. Maybe the Grammy member boards like that, and maybe they don't like The Weeknd, but they voted for Savage Megan Thee Stallion, so they like to get down. Okay, some of them are choosing songs that really break it to the dance floor. So if you're looking at Doja Cat with her votes, and Beyonce and Megan Thee Stallion, and you're looking at Taylor Swift, and you're looking at Dua Lipa and all these other people's, if you're looking at the whole list of the people, there's no way that The Weeknd was not in there. There's no way. So this is my theory. The Grammy members who people have been attacking, saying they're too old and they're too white and they're too whatever. I don't know who is a Grammy member, but I'm sure there are benefits to being to one. Definitely not losing $100 a year, but I don't know if it's necessarily their fault. I think they possibly did vote for The Weeknd. But if this little Illuminati club doesn't want The Weeknd to go forward, and they're like, nah, I'm okay, thanks. I just don't, I'm good. I'm good on that, okay? I don't really like The Weeknd. I don't want him to go forward. Then I think they are the ones to blame. They should have let The Weeknd go through. Why was he not through? Why was he not vote worthy? Maybe it's strange. I don't know. But anyway, they get their final 8. They send them out to the voting members again, and then they choose the winner. So on the 31st of January, we're going to find out who the actual winner of all this stuff is. But yeah, it's just very odd. I don't buy that The Weeknd wasn't in the top 20. He was definitely in. I mean, there's no way. I just don't believe it. And anyway, I have an allegation that I'm going to read at the end of this next allegation. Okay, because I've got allegations upon allegations. The next segment, I'm telling you now, is tea, honey. It is like, what's going on? And there's an allegation at the end of it, and it possibly gives idea into how these people operate and who is involved. And guess what? It's the people at the top, okay? I might get blacklisted along with Halsey and never be able to perform at the Grammys. I don't know what my chances are. This could be the end of my career, whatever. But let's just enjoy a song instead. So the next song I am going to play is by Post Malone. It's the song Circles, which is also nominated. Again, I didn't know who I'm a liar. I knew who Post Malone was. I'd heard of him, but it wasn't someone that I had gotten into. Listened to the music, I was like, I don't know. I kind of got him mixed up with other people in my head, and I don't know. I can see them now, and as I'm looking at his picture, I can see that he's not them. There's about 2 others. I know Machine Gun Kelly. For some reason, I get Machine Gun Kelly and Post Malone mixed up. They don't even look alike. They've got nothing to do with each other. Do they even know each other? For some reason, there's a connection somewhere that I've got these 2 mixed up in the world. So I often thought that I was following Post Malone, but I was actually following Machine Gun Kelly. I don't know what's happened there. And then there's another guy who I don't know his actual name, but because I just think his name's Post Malone. And I know that it's not him because he's a lot bigger. And he sings the song Human. So whoever that is, I thought that was Post Malone as well. This is not him. I don't know if... I like Post Malone. He raps and sings, and his voice sounds very nice. And And I like this song Circles. It was nominated for Record of the Year as well. So if it wins, I'll be happy. It came out though in September the 3rd, 2019. So it's a very old one. So I don't know if that's going to, like, if the voters are still going to want to vote for that one. But I'd be happy to see it win. These are the ones that I'd be happy to see win. So let's listen to Circles, Post Malone, honey. Post Malone with Circles. You know why I like that song? Because it was unexpected to me. When I saw Rapper, and I saw his picture, I was like, okay, like sometimes I can be very stereotypical. I stereotype people tremendously. I'm very problematic in that area. I assume so much just on, like, from what I can just see. And I was like, oh, so yeah, rap. But when I listened to it, I was like, I would think this was like an indie rock band, like, or like who are like branching into pop. Like this was their like breakout, like, commercialized kind of version of their music. So I'm interested to hear his other music. I'm gonna listen and see what he sounds like. Normally, like in his other tracks, but yeah, it's very pop. I can see why it was nominated. I can hear this doing so well on the radio. So good for Post Malone. Well done. Go and get your nomination. I know a lot of people like him. He's very popular. Anyway, let's get into the rest of what I was speaking about with the Grammys. Now, this is where it starts to get really interesting. This is the allegations, okay? This is tough. I'm going to try and be really respectful, but I also, because at the end of the day, it's still not like officially confirmed. It's just kind of, it's a weird one. So I am someone who tends to believe accusers. Yes, I pretend to believe the people who are accusing than really the ones who are denying the accusation, especially when it's high-powered men in the entertainment industry. I'm just very skeptical. And I just don't see why. Yeah, I just don't see why someone would make up an accusation like that, because so much damage can come from making those accusations. And so if it wasn't true, like, I just can't imagine making something like that up. So I just kind of believe it. But this is the situation. The Grammys last year, in August 2019, they employed their first female president. Her name was Deborah Dugan, right? And then 5 months later, which was 10 days before the 62nd Grammys, so that was last year's Grammys, she was placed on leave under investigation for an allegation of bullying that came from a female assistant, right? So that's kind of like, oh, okay. She claims that she was placed on leave as retaliation because she put in a complaint to the human resources director of the Academy in December. She did this. And the accusation she put was that she was sexually harassed by the Academy's attorney, who is called Joel Katz. And Joel Katz is a former Academy board chair. So in her complaint, she says that she put in a complaint about him sexually harassing her. She also, or she put in something, something about him harassing her, and also spoke of recommendations that she wanted towards the Academy, things that she wants to change, especially towards diversity. And she also wanted to. She also claims that she put in other things as well to do with things that she wasn't quite happy with in the way that they were working with, to do with money and to do with sneaky little Halsey accusations, things that Halsey is accusing them of, basically. Okay. She says that Neil Portnow, who was her predecessor, he was the president before she was, had been accused of raping a female artist. And she puts this in her complaint. That's awful. And I'm sure it happened. I mean, I'm sure it does happen. And I wouldn't be surprised to hear that these people, I don't know these guys, so I have no idea what their characters are like, but I'm not surprised to hear something like this happen. And I've got to say, there has been a lot of stories, a lot of accusations. One that we can publicly really talk about is Kesha's situation. When she was denied being able to have her contract stopped with Luke, the producer, who she had accused of raping her and drugging her and doing all these things. The fact that she was still forced to be in her contract with him and had to do an album under his label, I felt that was so disgusting. Even if he never did it, even if it was a whole lie and she made all of this up and it was all pretend, if someone's going to that lengths, like, you need to that contract needs to end now. Like, if you are, like, even if she lied about everything, it still needed to have ended. Like, and I just believe I believe her. Because it's such a common story. Lady Gaga came out and said she raped. And I'm so proud of these artists that have come out and really said in the last few years that they have been abused and raped and tortured and all these things that have come out now. And well done to them. Well done to them, because they are really making it a little bit safer for the rest of us who are trying to go into that world. Because I knew about all these things going on when I was like 15, and I remember researching it all and being shocked and horrified. But there was nothing concrete. There was nothing that I could really say, oh, this person come out and said this is their story. This person come out and said this is their story. Now we've got actual people who we can be like, look, there's proof that this is going on. Look at R. Kelly. Hello, R. Kelly. What's that other man's name? Weinstein, Epstein, bloody Bill Cosby. All these people, and there's so many more. Kevin Spacey. I mean, there's so many people who are like just come out now. Even this story, I never knew about this story. And I'm horrified that I never knew about this story. And then I've just come to like find out as I'm researching Grammys and hear that this happened only last year. Last year, 2020. Like, what? So listen. So the old president had been accused of raping an artist, and she was like, this is terrible. Katz and Portnow both deny the allegations, and they say that both allegations were investigating, they've been exonerated. Okay, whatever. So Dugan, the lady that's made these accusations, she had in the memo, she sent a memo to HR, which said there was questionable financial expenditures, rigged Grammy voting, and self-dealing at the public non-profit organisation. So that's a hefty thing to say that you've said to them, and that you're coming out and this woman, by the way, has had a very lustrous career. She's a high-powered woman. She's done a lot in her life. She is not going to go and put her whole career on the line. And if she really had just bullied the girl, I think she would go, look, okay, I bullied her. I'm just going to step away and bow out. But the fact that she put a HR memo in prior to even the accusation, she's saying the accusation was a reaction to the memo, to the memo. And then after the accusation, she then put in a formal complaint and reiterated all of this stuff. So let's listen to what she says about the sexual harassment. She says the incident occurred on May 18th, 2019. My birthday is May 20th, just in case you would like to know. This was before she had started working at the academy in August. She went to, she'd been invited to attend the first day of a 3-day board session held at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Laguna Niguel in California. And she says that Katz, he's a very high-powered attorney, he negotiated the sale of Taylor Swift's he negotiated the selling of Taylor Swift's music, I believe, to Scooter Braun's group. That guy, he was involved in doing that. So that was a bit of drama as well. I don't know the story that much, so I don't know who was upset, but I know someone was upset about that. Right, so she says this: under the guise of a work dinner, I was propositioned by the general counsel, that is Joel Katz. It started with calling me baby. So she's going to a work dinner with him, right? So privately, outside of these meetings. And he started calling her baby and telling me how pretty I was. And then in the course of which, by the way, if this was a good looking guy and you're going to a work dinner and he's calling you baby and you're pretty and you're like enjoying it, totally fine. No one's saying that there's anything wrong with that. It's probably inappropriate to do it if you're a work colleague, but you know what? How do you get a leg over these days? How do you get into a relationship? So this I don't see as a problem. However, if she's not engaging, and you can tell when a woman is not liking you, I don't care, men, women out there, it's bloody obvious when someone is not into you. You can tell, even if they're smiling. Like, do not be stupid. Do you know when someone is not into you, and it's your responsibility to back the hell up. If he's calling her baby and she's not like, oh, sweetheart, like, if that is not happening, which I doubt was happening, Mr. Katz, then you need to stop with that and cut it out in the middle, okay? And when I looked at him, not being funny, but he's no Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson? Is that a hot guy? George Clooney, I was meaning saying. Yes, George Clooney. He's no like suave, like sophisticated in a nice suit. I mean, he looks like he is a character in Coronation Street. So yeah, I'm not about that life. Anyway, so then in the course of the dinner, after ordering a bottle of wine, she says, I got a little more uncomfortable. He was talking about his private plane and trips that we could do, and it ended with him leaning forward to kiss me. As I look back now, I think that the fact that they had me meet him and have dinner with him first was sort of a test of how much I would acquiesce to. Gross. She said that she was disgusted and bewildered, and I would be disgusted and bewildered as well. It's not, that's not right. And you cannot, like, especially if you're at a 3-day work situation, right? This is what's also not right about this. They're going there for work. They're on a 3-day board thing. If you're going to go for a dinner, private dinner, to discuss work and say, look, we need to talk about work. How I can just imagine he's like, oh, I've got some things I need to get over with you. I need to, just get your viewpoint on this. And let's go to dinner. We'll do it over dinner, 7:00. And she's like, okay, sure. And then they get down there, and then he starts going, baby, my private plane and all this stuff. And you're like, oh, for God's sake, I could have had dinner on my own. Like, and I came here to do work, and now because I'm trying to impress you, because I'm going to be working with you soon, and now you're trying to call me baby and work. You would be like, oh, for God's sake. And then you just think, damn, this is my place of work. I'm going to have to deal with this nutcase. Now, I know a lot of women just kind of accept that they're going to have to deal with sexual harassment at work, and they just like, like Bridget Jones, like they just deal with it, and they just like, oh yeah, sure, like I have to deal with this every day. And I'm sure there's women listening to us now who are like having to deal with sexual harassment every day. I can't even imagine what that's like. I mean, I get my fair share of sexual harassment, which I'm kind of proud of, because I'm glad I get a little bit, but to be honest, I'm not getting what these ladies are dealing with. And I've never had it at work. And I think it would crush me if I was in a work situation and to have to think, oh God, I'm going to have to deal with this all the time, this gross, sticky, icky. And then you don't know whether this man's crazy. You don't know if he's a serial killer and he's going to end up hanging you upside down. Like, you don't know what's going to happen to you. You have to seriously think about these things. And women get it a lot worse. Women get a tough deal. So I'm glad that I can see this happening. And if this did happen, which my spidey sense says it did, then I think that I'm glad she spoke up, and I think we need to stop doing all this naughtiness, people. We need to just be a little bit careful. This is what I think he should have done. He should have invited her away from the work meeting when it all finished, the 3-day event, and say, look, do you want to go out to dinner sometime? If he wants to, he might be thinking he's getting a vibe. Some guys can't read. And he might be, just think, oh, one shot. And if she says, yeah, and then never plans to, or she's like, oh, no, I don't think that's appropriate, then you just take the shot and you go, okay, cool, and then you leave it. If you ask her out and then and she doesn't want to, okay? But pretending you're going for a work dinner and then you're just kissing her, like, no. Because let me tell you, if it happened to me, maybe this is like an invitation for sexual harassment, but I don't want it to be. But like, if it happened to me, like, there's many times where I've been in those situations and I've just gone along with it because I don't know what I'm like. I'm just so kind of like, oh, what, this is happening, okay. And then I don't even, but no, don't put me in that position, please, to have to say stop it. Just request. I like requests. So Mr. Katz will say on his behalf, this is what his lawyer said. He says, Miss Duggan's allegations of harassment and a description of a dinner at the steakhouse, blah, 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 is wrong, and says basically that he thought they had a productive and professional meeting in a restaurant where a number of members of the board of trustees of the academy and others were dining. So apparently others were there. Maybe they were, but who bloody cares? Like, they're your mates. You can all be having a drink and having a dine and then lean over and try and kiss somebody and talk about your private plane. You can do that. And they're probably not going to bat an eyelid because they've probably seen it all before. You know what I mean? Like, so what? I don't care that they're there. Okay, so in terms of the bullying, the girl she was an assistant and she basically accused the Dugan of making a toxic work environment and that was intolerable, and said that she did this like kind of lengthy statement saying that she was very upset with the false narrative about the academy and me and my colleagues is regrettable, but is also emblematic of Miss Dugan's abusive and bullying conduct while she served as the academy's president. And I am proud of my career with the academy, where as a woman I was able to work my way from secretary to director of administration in the executive suite, solely based on merit and while working for and with leaders far more demanding and hard charging than Miss Dugan. All right then, darling. So if they were far more high demanding, why haven't you ever accused them? I mean, what was Portnow like? Okay, sweet. But she very quickly, like within 5 months, accuses Dugan. I can't imagine. I don't know what would, if they were worse. You know what, you just took it for so long and now this was the last straw, maybe? I don't know. I just think it's a little bit strange that she had a problem. But so she's very much like annoyed and you can see she's very proud of her job. Good for her. She's worked very hard. But Dugan had said that she had found that woman, her name was Miss Little. She had found Miss Little's work lacking and that she is suggesting moving the assistant into another role at the academy rather than terminate her employment. So if that's the case, then I'm just like, oh, maybe that the academy, she could have said, look, we need to move her out because she's not doing her job right, guys. And she could do better as a cleaner. Like, no, not as a cleaner, but like as something else. So maybe we should move her over here. And then she's put in all these so she's come in as a woman by the sounds of things, and she's like you guys, I don't like that you're not very diverse. I don't like that I see that there's something shady going on with the academy. I don't like this. I was also sexually harassed, by the way, sexually harassed, and also like we need to get rid of this girl and move her over there, and she could do it because she's not very good. So she's coming in, and I'm sure they're not happy with her making all her choices, and they're all like this boys club who've had their first woman in, and then they're like, oh, she shouldn't be saying this, oh, you can just imagine it. So they've gone to I can imagine, and this is my theory, that they've gone to Miss Little and just said, look, she wants to move you to another job, or she wants to get rid of you. She doesn't like you at all. She thinks you're doing terrible at your job. So maybe you should, come forward and say you're being bullied. Wouldn't that be interesting? And she's like, you know what? I think I was bullied. I feel bullied. She's like, yes, I was bullied, because, she wants to move in. I would do that because the thing is, if after hearing that, this woman, say that you go, no, I'm not going to, I wasn't actually bullied by her. You're not going to go and defend the person that you've just been told wants you to leave your job and doesn't like your work. You're not going to defend her. And if you do, and you like, no, I'm just gonna, you guys, I'm not gonna say she bullied me because she didn't. Like, she just doesn't like me and fine. I'm not gonna say she bullied me. Then she gets to keep her job, and then you get dusted out the office because she wants to move you elsewhere anyway, because she doesn't really like your work. So of course you're going to go in and put a bullying complaint. If you find out, there's no way. Of course. And look how she's like very much, Miss Little was very much being complimentary of like the Academy and very supportive of them. Like, I am proud of my job as a woman and I've worked very hard for the Academy and I've got so far and here I am and the Academy are perfect. And how dare she? How dare she? Dugan, she said all these things and they're wrong, you know, and it's, I can see it. I can see it. I don't know what your eyes can see, but I can see it. So anyway, let's have a break. I'll go into the rest of it now. I'll go into the money accusations and the accusations to do with the with sneaky things going behind the scenes, including bribes and stuff. So let's listen to a song. The next song I'm going to play, I think, is Dua Lipa, isn't it? Yeah, it's Dua Lipa, Don't Start Now. If you don't want to hear the song, just literally, you can just swipe over it. You're possibly not, if you're not listening to this on Spotify, then you won't be able to hear it, whatever. But Dua Lipa, I like this song. I'll tell you why. Don't Start Now, I wasn't really into Dua Lipa in the beginning of what she was doing. I just wasn't really like, she just doesn't look like she wants to be on stage. I was like, what's she doing? I don't know where she just wandered on there. Like, does she not want to be there? Someone forced her. But I feel like she's really settled into herself with this album. Future Nostalgia, I do like it. And there's a few bops on there. And Don't Start Now, I first heard it, didn't like it. Now I've listened to it for a while, I liked it. I've got to say the single cover is my favourite thing about it because she looks like Mel C from the Spice Girls. And I've got to support that look. I thought it was really cool. So this is Don't Start Now by Dua Lipa, which is also nominated for a Record of the Year. I don't want it to win though. But she's got other awards that she can win. Yeah, have a listen. It's Dua Lipa, Don't Start Now. It's a good bop. You know, I don't remember when it came out. When did it come out? October 31st. So yeah, I did hear it in a nightclub. When I was listening to it, I was like, this reminds me of partying in a nightclub, but I don't know if I ever actually did party to this song in a nightclub, but I think I did. Oh my God, I'd miss going clubbing so much. I can't believe that I haven't been in a nightclub in almost a year. That sucks. Anyway, let's move on to this. Oh, I'm just really annoyed about it. Okay, so let's go into the rest of the allegations that come from Dugan. So we've had the sexual harassment allegations it's between her and the attorney that it works for the Grammys. And the prior CEO was accused of rape. Let's just everyone know. So Miss Dugan's lawyer made this statement, which I thought was interesting because, just to recap, she was accused of bullying by one of the assistants. And she goes, this is what the lawyer says. Neil Portnow was accused of rape. Was he placed on administrative leave? So he was really actually just accused of rape. Like, that's actually mad. Like, it wasn't just somebody, it wasn't a rumor that she heard. It was like, he was actually accused of rape. Was he placed on administrative leave? No. So to place Deborah on an administrative leave, over being bossy, and by the way, women are bossy, men are bosses, which is very true. When a woman is in charge, they always call her bossy, but men are bosses, honey. And he says to put her on administrative leave over something as innocuous and benign as being allegedly bossy to an administrative assistant just doesn't make any sense. I have to agree with that statement, and I feel like that's a mic drop moment. It's terrible. I mean, if they didn't place the accused rapist on administrative leave and they placed her on it like 5 months into her job, sketchy things are going on here. Okay, now listen, it's sketchy. These people, right? In a discrimination complaint, Dugan also repeated her allegations of irregularities and conflicts of interest in the Grammy voting process, as well as substantial payouts of fees to outside law firms and to individual board members. So people making money, lots and lots of money that maybe shouldn't be. So she said these payouts include payouts to Greenberg Touring, where Joel Katz is an attorney. So in 2017, according to the Academy's 990 forms, the firm was paid $6.3 million, as well as $1.75 million in 2016 and over $1.1 million in 2015, with similar amounts in the two previous years. According to the EEOC filing, the Academy also pays Katz personally $250,000 annually as a retainer. So he gets his retainer fee, but then the firm that he works for, all this money, like millions and millions and millions. I mean, he gets $250,000 personally as a retainer, and then the firm gets $6.3 million in 1 year. What on earth are they paying lawyers that much for? They need that much. Listen, I'm in the wrong job. That is crazy. What's all that money being spent on? Fighting allegations. So on Thursday, Dugan also said that the board and executive committee reacted negatively to some urgent recommendations from the Academy's Diversity and Inclusion Task Force, a group formed in the wake of widely denounced comments made by her predecessor, long-term Academy president and CEO Portnow. And you know what he said? Listen to this, guys. After the 2018 Grammy Awards ceremony was criticised for a lack of female nominees and performers, Portnow said that women in the industry would just have to step up to be recognised. How dare you? Who the hell is this man? You are so rude. These women are literally making you money, carrying the backs. So you say that, and then now you want to give Beyonce 9 nominations. Oh, like who? These men are horrible and gross. I am so disappointed. I am disappointed. Okay, it's not right. It's not right to say that. And this guy was accused of rape by a female artist. He sounds exactly like what he was accused of. So, but that was the CEO, not the attorney. But whatever. The attorney's making loads of money from these men. She goes, there were some things I got pushed out. So they start up, because of these horrendous comments, they start up a diversity task force who's been employed to do a job. And she said, there's some things I got pushed back on, like, oh, we don't need a chief diversity officer. She obviously thought they did need one, and I don't blame her. She also described what she saw as conflicts of interest in the process of nominating artists for Grammys. She said there is a degree of corruption in that system. There is a problem when you have board members on those committees who have vested interest in having certain artists winning. I'm sorry, but that seems really obvious to me, because in the voting process, anybody can be a member of the Grammys board and submit music to it. So you are a Grammy member and you submit music to it. That seems like a major conflict of interest to me. They say there's not many people who want to be on the board, and they tend to be people who are in the music industry. So of course they're going to have music signed to their label that wants to be submitted and stuff like that. So I get that as an argument, and I don't know how you get around that. But if you've got people who are actually on this little small committee, I mean, fair enough, the voters, people who are voting, right? But if you've got a small board of people who are doing those decisions. Remember that little Illuminati club that we're talking about? Do you remember this guy who's a boss and the boss of TV who would probably be chatting with them and working with them and who were all doing this stuff? They have artists and money and investment tied up in artists that, they want to win because it benefits their careers, obviously. And why would they not take advantage of that? I mean, I don't blame them, if I'm honest. So I think they're at the top and they are allowed to do it, really. And no one's going to know because no one knows and no one cares. And it seems a little bit sketchy they do that. I mean, you would have to rely on people on really good security and really good checks. Or you would have to rely on like, I don't know, just their goodwill. And listen, I'm not relying on anyone's goodwill for anything. Don't even give me that. So I don't know. It just seems really a bit odd to me. She's saying that they have, invested interest in certain artists winning, and they're on the committee. So yeah, of course that's going to be a bit odd. She says she also reiterated in her EEOC complaint that the telecast's producer of 40 years, Ken Ehrlich, holds undue influence over the nominations for high-profile Grammy Award categories, including Record of the Year and Album of the Year, which makes sense. He's producer of the Grammys. He wants to put on a good show. And in order to get someone to perform at the event and do a good show, they won't really go unless they're going to win. That I've kind of clocked for a long time. If someone's performing, they're most likely winning something. And I think that's how a lot of that works. Like, you want me to perform? Okay. See, now I may be shooting myself in the foot here, because maybe these men are going to be in charge of me getting to perform at the Grammys. And if they are, if you're listening to this, I don't support what you're doing, but I will be happy to sell out. Just so you know. I will. Miss Dugan deserves more because she is an educated woman who's worked her backside off. So that's not me. I'm poor. So, like, take me and do whatever you want with me. I will sign whatever. So anyway, so she does this complaint. She says, do I think that this system of him making it clear, talking about the producer, who he'd like on the show, to the board members who are then in the room voting, is not a correct one going forward? I do. I think it should be changed. So basically, he's able to go to the board members and say, nominate Megan Thee Stallion, please, because I want that booty on stage. Nominate Beyonce, give her 9 because she's, whatever. And who knows, maybe they did private performances for him. What does that mean? I want to know what private performance is. Maybe it's just him on his own, and Beyonce's just there with Megan Thee Stallion twerking and stuff. Like, I don't know about that. I don't get... Ugh. These people, they've been accused of rape. They've been, he's saying that women need to step up if they want to be nominated for a Grammy, all while they're like dealing and tweeling and stuff. And I think that's very interesting, like that they're picking male artists, because it's only recently that they're really giving the females any kind of looking. They seem to hate women. So they're voting for the males, private performances, bribes, invested interests, but they don't want the Weeknd. What did the Weeknd do? Who did the Weeknd piss off? What did he decline? What's going on here? I feel like if we delve into this, we're going to find out. So, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I feel like there's a wealth of different stuff going on here that is very scary. And I don't know if I like it. To be honest. I'm willing to sell out to perform. I'll do whatever to get on there. But I don't know if I'll like it. Okay. So, anyway. Everyone's saying that it's false, and they're saying that they investigated it. So that Welsh should be investigated. He said that he didn't know what firm or firms were leading those investigations, but said that people that they had no association with and connection to would be conducting the investigation into her bullying and whatever the sexual harassment investigation is as well. But Dugan is saying that is not right, because the firm that was selected was the law firm Proskauer Rose, a firm that charged the Academy over $900,000 in 2017 and over $870,000 in 2016, which was the most recent years for financial information that was available. A partner at Proskauer Rose, Charles Ortner, serves as national legal counsel to the Academy and is one of the most powerful lawyers in the entertainment industry. His client list has included Universal Music Group, Sony Music Group, U2, and Madonna. Oh yeah, he sounds unbiased and impartial, doesn't he? He sounds like he's gonna totally listen. He's involved in that, and that's his law firm. I don't know if that's really fair to say that they've got no connection or association with. I mean, clearly they have. They paid them over all this money. They're paying an awful lot of law firms an awful lot of money. What on earth are they doing that for? What is going on? She was the head of it and she didn't like it. So maybe what are they doing? Are they all doing dodgy money? Is money getting transferred? Oh, Erica Jane, there's been, I don't know if anyone knows who Erica Jane is. She's a real housewife and she's also a singer. She's married to this high-powered lawyer who's involved in Erin Brockovich case at some point or something, Tom Girardi. And there's this huge thing because apparently he's been taking money from victims, money that was payouts that are meant for victims of cases that they've won, and he's taking it and he's putting it into her account and putting it into everyone else's account. And there's this kind of running theme of people who are in big money putting money into different people's accounts, and this one goes to that law firm and that one goes to that law firm. What is all this money going out there for? Why? What? For a contract? Like, hello, this is crazy. What are you doing? Is there sneaky stuff going on? What are you paying for? Who's paying it? Where's this money going? What's happening? There's something not right here, and we need to figure it out, don't we? So anyway, listen to this. In March, Dugan was fired. They did the investigations and found that she was a bully and that she had lied about everything that she'd said about the sexual harassment and was not fine. Katz is still working there. Everyone else is still working there. They replaced her with somebody else, with another man. And she's gone. Case dismissed. I mean, They were literally like, we found no evidence. That's not very nice. I just don't know. Anyway, listen to this. This is another allegation, and this is the final allegation that came out. Okay? Final. On October 24th, 2019, Mr. Ehrlich, who is the producer of the Grammys, sent an email to Miss Dugan and Mr. Mason. So Harvey Mason Jr. is the Recording Academy's chair, the current chair, and interim executive officer, I believe. I think that's that's the guy. But yeah, sent an email to them and outrageously attempted to use his position to influence nomination votes. This is the producer of the Grammys. Specifically, Mr. Ehrlich attempted to press the Academy into nominating a song by a particular superstar in order to increase his ability to convince the superstar to perform at the Grammys. So this is what the email allegedly says. It says, looking at the the AMA nominations this morning, it's more about who's not there, not being in capitals, than who is. And said superstar is definitely not going to be happy. Minor representation at best. So I think there's a case to be made to said superstar that a performance of song from album on our show, should it be should it be nominated? So he's saying that this performer and singer was not nominated for the AMAs whatsoever. I must have a look and see who wasn't nominated, who was snubbed in the AMAs, and who possibly and then performed at the. I'm going to do an investigation. Who was snubbed at the AMAs but performed and won a Grammy, or was nominated for a Grammy at least. So I'm gonna have to do see who that could be. But he's saying that this superstar did not get any AMAs or anything like that, and everyone was like, oh. It's about who's not there than who is. So I think we should go to them and say, because I think they will really want to perform at the Grammys because they're not going to perform there if they're nominated. Maybe this person isn't an obvious nomination. Maybe this person wouldn't usually be nominated if it wasn't for the case. But they're saying that if they nominate them, then they'll be like, right, we'll come. So, I mean, obviously, because he wants this artist to perform. And why would he not do that when they're going to go, okay, yeah, sure. And they've got this little club where nobody knows and everyone's happy with what's going on because they're all in control and all making money from it. Why would they not do this? So of course they're doing it. Okay. All I need to know is, who do I speak to get my music into a Grammy? Who do I have to speak to get a Grammy around here? Whose dick do I have to suck? What private performance do you need? What bribe? I'll take an AMA. I'll take an AMA. I'll take anything. Just let me know. But yeah, I think it's quite sad about what happened to Dugan, and you know, I wish her all the best. I hope she gets a different career and a different job somewhere else and gets away from these men, honey. She does not need these scrubs. So the Grammys is on the 31st of January. I'm not sure when this episode is actually going to go out. It's probably going to be the 30th of January. But yeah, listen, watch the Grammys, and then I'm going to do a review on what I think about the performances. I'm sure it's going to be different this year because it's going to be all virtual and all this nonsense. I don't know how I feel about that. And actually, the next episode will be about live streams and different people's live streams. So I'm guessing the Grammy will be live streamed. It's going to be weird because I'm going to have to try and find a way to watch it in England. So I'm going to have to watch a live stream of something that's being live streamed in America. So a live stream performance to a live streamed American TV show. And then I'll have to live stream it over to England. So I am probably going to be like a day late and $1 short. I'm probably going to get this pixelated square. Anyway, we'll talk about live streams next episode. Thank you for listening. Please go and follow me on everywhere at Call Me Just Jordan. And the last song I'm going to play for you as we leave is Doja Cat, Say So, because it's joyful. And I like Doja Cat. I think she's done really, really well. I might do a whole episode on just Doja Cat because I'm a huge fan. I really like her. I think she's really good. And I like this song as well. So here it is, Doja Cat, Say So. Also nominated for Record of the Year. Peace.